Yo, what is going on, guys? This is Beanie, and welcome back to another player review, your one-stop shop to know who the hell you should buy and who you should say, fuck you, I'm not gonna buy you, you suck, and you never put them on your team. Guys, I've got to say, before the video starts, I'm sorry about no video yesterday, and I'm sorry that I didn't stream. I know that I promised you guys that, but I'm a selfish fuck. The past 2 days have been insanely busy. Southern Miss is in regionals. They are hosting regionals for the first time since 2003, and I've been watching that. And then last night, I was planning on streaming, but then I got tickets to go watch Mississippi State and South Alabama play in the regional, and I said, fuck it. I'm not going to stream, but I'm going to make it up to you guys today. I'm gonna put this video out and I'm gonna stream tonight after the Southern Miss game, so it may be a little later on. It may be like 10 o'clock or so before the stream starts. The game starts at 6, and probably 30 minutes to an hour after the game ends is whenever I'll start the stream. In today's player reviews, I have a lot of guys to go through, so I'm going to try to go through them a little bit quicker than I normally do. I'm still going to try to provide, you know, relatively in-depth analysis on them, but we're just going to try to get through them quicker. And by the way, a lot of people have been asking how I get my FAG rating. Well, the FAG is an extremely complicated formula that I will put on the stream. I tediously go through it with every single player, and it turns out a FAG. It is completely scientific, completely mathematic. Here is the formula. Boom! Okay, so now that you know how the FAG is calculated, let's get into the player reviews. Okay, the first guy that we're going to talk about is the 95 Cole Hamels, and this is a card that I'm not super stoked about. He has, you know, pretty good per nines, 90, 68. That's, you know, just barely above that 155 mark that I've talked about before that I want to hit with a combined hit and K per 9. The big problem with this card is he does not throw hard at all. He has extremely effective off-speed stuff, and his control is pretty good, but he just does not throw hard enough to make those off-speed pitches effective enough. He just doesn't. And if you don't have that speed to really set up that devastating changeup or good sweeping curve or slider, then he's not going to be extremely effective for you. Maybe if he had like 95 plus per nines, he'd be okay, but he's just not. I think he'll be slightly above average for you, but nothing better than that. I gave this card a 6.3. Okay, moving on to the 88 overall Cliff Floyd. This is another card that is just kind of, you know, there. There's really nothing extraordinary about this card. He plays a not-so-premium position in left field. He's a good hitter against righties, 77, 93 with 74 vision. I guess he's even effective against lefties if you're really good with your PCI, but that PCI is going to be pretty tiny with that 44 contact. He's not a great fielder. He doesn't have great speed. I think just off the sake that he is a solid hitter versus righties, he'll play above average, but I really don't see a point in buying this card unless you just love Cliff Floyd, because there are just so many guys that kind of fit that bill that you can get for cheaper and will probably end up being better for you. So I think this card is above average, but just barely. So I put him at a 5.4. Okay, coming up next is my second favorite card in this whole release. I love this 87 Drew Storen card. This is a card that I could totally see myself putting into my bullpen and riding with him the rest of the year. He has really solid per nines, 82, 92. You know, that's not great for a reliever. Like typically your elite relievers have like 95 plus, but it's still very, very good. It's better than Kelvin Herrera's, and you know I love me some Kelvin Herrera. His stuff is phenomenal. 88 velocity with 92 break. That is extremely effective, and he has about the best for a reliever, probably the best pitch mix that you could possibly ask for. He has a four seam, a slider, a sinker, and a changeup. He's going to be effective against lefties and righties, and you know how devastating a sinker is. I've talked about it a ton. So this guy is going to be well above average for you. I ended up giving him the second highest FAG out of anybody in this player review, and I set his at 8.4, which is actually higher than a 96 overall diamond that we're going to talk about in just a little while. Okay, sticking with the relief pitchers, I'm going over to the 85 overall Joaquin Benoit. Guys, this card looks, it's very deceptive. It looks like it's extremely good, or not extremely good, but very, very good. A guy that you would want to consider putting in your bullpen. I'm here to tell you, no, do not do that. This guy is an above average pitcher for sure. He would be very effective in your bullpen, but if you scroll down and take a look at his live series card, he is better in virtually every possible way. He throws harder, he has better break, he has much better per nines. The only thing that kind of lags behind, I guess, is his control and maybe like home run per nine. It's something that doesn't even matter. This card is extremely deceptive in that matter. I would recommend, if you're looking to get Joaquin Benoit, I would look to go with a silver live series version. I think this card is going to be better than the fag I give him for you, but just because his live series is so much better than this card and can be had cheaper, that drives his fag way down. Still think he's going to be above average for you, but I couldn't give him that high of a fag because of that, so I put his fag at a 5.2. All right, next we're going to talk about the 84 overall Drew Pomeranz, and this is a card that I think is kind of going under the radar for a lot of people. This card is very, very good. You know, left-handed relievers come at a premium. It is very difficult to fill out 3 or 4 your bullpen with 3 or 4 good lefties, and this guy definitely fits that bill. 89 hit per 9, 86 K per 9, very solid. Not elite, but very, very solid, especially for a left-handed reliever. He doesn't throw extremely hard with 66 velocity, but he will be able to run it up hard enough for you to be effective with him. And for lefties, you're really like it's really hard to get flamethrowers as lefties anyway, outside of like Chapman and Diekman and Miller. And I guess Britton. But yeah, if you're looking for a guy who's going to be a budget option where you don't have to go out and get those high-priced lefty relievers, I think this is going to be a guy for you. And he's going to play well above average, and he has that sick little knuckle curve. It's a pitch that you don't see a lot, and it may throw people off a little bit. I don't know. But I think he's going to be well above average, and I put his fag at a 7.1. Okay, guys, moving on, we're going to talk about the 97 Eric Gagne, a brand new legend in the game. And this card has elite per nines, 97, 94 with amazing control, 85 for a reliever. That's very, very good. Really high clutch, which is marginally important. And 71 velocity, 192 break, 4 pitches, a four seam, a curveball, slider, and a Vulcan change. And from what I can tell, I looked on Daddy Leagues, and his curveball is extremely slow. Kind of like, who is it that has that really slow? Is it Joakim Soria that has that, or Joaquim Soria that has that really slow curveball? That's kind of how his is. And he throws pretty hard. You know, I think he can run it up to about 95. And he has good break on all of his pitches with a very, very good changeup. Eric Gagne was kind of known for that changeup throughout his career. So I think this card is going to be very, very solid for you. And I ended up putting his fag at an 8.6. I just could not justify putting it as Drew Storen's fag any higher than Gagne's. I do think that this guy will probably end up being better just because his per nines are so much better, even though that Storen, I think, has better stuff along with the sinker. I think that this guy will probably provide you more value, but I'm not 100% on that. So, you know, it's pretty close. It's pretty close in my opinion. Okay, now we're moving on to the 96 overall Joey Votto, and I think a lot of people are gonna be mad at me for not putting this card higher in my fag ratings, but I have my reasons. First of all, you know that I'm not super high on first baseman. If they don't have something really, really special about them, like they play secondary positions or they're 99 everything, I'm not very high on them because I think that you can fill first base with virtually anybody in the game and they'll do it effectively for you. But this card is still great. 98 contact power versus righties, and he's serviceable versus lefties, 73-72. He might be a guy that you want to platoon if you have a fantastic team, but it's not really necessary. delivery, 60 vision. I've always kind of wondered, does Joey Votto strike out that much? Because, I don't know, it's kind of weird that his vision is so low. I've never really looked at it, but that, you know, that's kind of unfortunate. He's a decent fielder, 78 with 65 reaction, you know, whatever. You know, the whole package I think is very, very good. He'll be a very good first baseman, but just because you can put so many people at first base and them do a good job for you, I ended up putting his fag at an 8.2. I know a lot of people are going to be like, you put Drew Storins at 8.4. I'm sorry, I think you'll get more value, more upside value out of Drew Storin than you would this card just because of the positions that they play. Not saying that the Drew Storin is a better card, though. Do not confuse that. This is all about value. It's about how to extract value out of these guys. Okay, this is another card that might kind of surprise you guys, but the 89 overall Aaron Hill, I gave very high marks to this card. He is a second baseman, which is an extremely difficult position to fill. If you haven't gotten like the Kinsler or the Cano or somebody like that, it is just a ridiculous position to fill. And typically a lot of people will go with like D. Gordon just to get one extraordinary tool out of it. But this guy is a decent defender and he can crush. For a second baseman, 82-74 versus righties, 66-72 versus lefties with 85 vision is extremely good for a second baseman. I think this guy is going to play well above average for you. And if you don't have the luxury of having that Kinsler or the Cano or somebody like that, if you're running a budget team, this guy is probably the guy to go to for second base. I was really happy with this release. It was really close to being a diamond too. So, you know, that just goes to show you how valuable this card could be. I don't know if that really made a lot of sense. But anyways, I ended up putting his fag at an 8.0. Very, very high just because of the position he plays and how well he can hit out of that position. Okay, looking at one more center fielder, and then we're going to talk about the guy that I am just in love with, that I'm super happy about. But first, we're going to talk about the 85 overall Sin Chu Chu. This guy is very similar to his card from last year. He is phenomenal against righties. He is an abortion against lefties. He has okay defense with meh speed, but a really good arm. So, you know, an interesting card. One knock against him is he is a little bit shorter than I like, but it's not like crazy short. Like out of my power guys, I tend to like them above like 6'1", 6'2", but it's not something that I knocked him any for. It's just, you know, kind of a side note. I have kind of struggled to hit with him in the past, but this is still an okay card that against righties will definitely get the job done for you. So I put his fag at a 7.3, well above average, just because of the arm strength and the offense versus righties. Okay, last but most certainly not least, the 95 overall Impact veteran Chipper Jones. And Chipper Jones is my favorite player of all time. You guys know this, right? So I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible here, but man, it's really hard. Because this card was set during the years where Chipper was playing both third base and left field. They had brought on Vinny Castillo, so they moved Chipper to left field, and third base became kind of a secondary for a few years. So this card has the added benefit of being able to play either position. His defense isn't quite as good as the 99 overall version, but you know, you don't get the Chipper for the defense. You get him for the switch hitter and for just being an absolute monster offensively. And this guy is a monster offensively, especially being a switch hitter. 94-81 versus righties. He's going to be a terror for you against righties. 92-67 versus lefties. He's going to be able to be very solid, get extra base hits for you versus lefties. You know, it'd be nice if that power were a little higher, but it's like, whatever, man. Like, you can't ask for everything with a 95 overall switch hitting, you know, guy who can play two different premium, well, one premium position, one not so premium position. this card is fantastic, guys. I love this card with every ounce of my soul. I'm so glad that I don't have to complete the Dynasty program in order to get like a good, solid Chipper Jones card. You know, I still probably will get that Chipper Jones card and then come back and sell this one and figure out that later. But this card is a monster, guys. I love it in every way, and I gave him a fag of an 8.7, which is the highest out of anybody in this crop of players. But guys, that is going to do it for this episode of Player Reviews. Guys, once again, sorry about no video yesterday. Sorry for no gameplay in a few days. It's just been a crazy couple of days. I've had a lot of adult stuff to do. It's been really fucking gay. And, you know, and then NCAA regionals starting. But after the USM game tonight, watch it with me if you want. We'll talk about it in the stream. Southern Miss is playing South Alabama to move on to the regional finals, where we will likely win and then meet up with LSU in the super regionals and then beat LSU's ass on our way to a national championship. So anyways, guys, yeah, that is going to do it for this episode. No Beanie's pick today. Sorry about that. This video was going to run a little long anyway, but I will see you guys tomorrow when we will have some gameplay. Or actually, I'll see you guys tonight when we stream. So yeah, but for you guys who don't want to watch the stream, I will see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, peace.